Hey there! Thanks for tuning in into another episode of the Hyphen podcast, a podcast by hyphens for hyphens. We hope that the conversations today will inspire you and help you grow in your journey in pursuit of Jesus. Remember, you can catch the podcast audio on any platform that you listen to podcasts, as well as the video experience on our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Instagram at Hyphen for clips and other content. Once again, we are glad that you would join us on this journey. Enjoy the episode!
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Hyphen podcast, a podcast by hyphens for hyphens.
Let's get it.
My name is Brian Ramos and I am your servant, your hyphen director here at Truth Tabernacle Church. And alongside with me are my awesome brothers. We have here, I have to look at the list of who to introduce. We have our associate pastor, Josel Fortaleza. We have our awesome two Marks here, brother Mark Talyara and brother Mark Iglesias. And you have another special guest who we will be introducing in more detail later, our dear brother Kuya. Oh my gosh,
my cousin.
Kuya James
Thank
Saure.
you. Hi.
Did he just forget his name? That's a really bad look for a podcast.
You really need to look at the list, eh?
Yeah, that's I'm like,
Oh no.
It's all good.
sorry.
That's okay.
We just met today. I'm just kidding. Okay, anyways, so there's comedy. Anyways, how's everyone doing? Besides me, I'm out of it.
It's all good. I'm like super sweaty
Yeah.
right now.
It's pretty hot in here.
I'm glistening.
Yeah.
Yeah. That weather transition.
Oh yes.
Plus that cage is super hot.
Don't you have a fan in there?
Yeah, I forgot to turn it on.
Is it plugged
And
in?
then I turned it on at the altar, and then I put my jacket on top of it. So it just
it's not even
pointless.
working.
no, but like we have some exciting news for Hyphen Ministry.
For sure.
He's like, what are we talking about?
My mind is just.
We want
have-
to introduce our
We've
new
got some-
members.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
introduced
New family
Some new fam.
joining.
Please welcome.
It's a break.
Sorry, just everything was so fast. We're starting? Yes, let's go. Behind the scenes, we have our two new hyphen leaders with us. Sister Jonah Garcia and Sister Brianna Hyphen.
Turn the camera on yourself. Super close up.
Yeah, so welcome aboard to Hyphen here
Yeah.
at Truth Tabernacle.
Super excited to have more people join the team. I think that every hyphen ministry at different churches is different. It's run differently, but I think for us, like our hyphen ministry is at the point where it's really picking up speed. I think,
For sure.
and of course with the podcast, our hyphen calls, which was really great testimony from the last call. And just our bi-monthly services, which I don't know, maybe we'll do more consistently.
For sure.
Transition.
I'm just really excited for Hyphen Ministry. We've made some really good connections in the past couple weeks with some. Excuse me, wow. that Coke before this was not a good idea. No, we've made some really good, meaningful connections with some hyphens, which is like, for me, it's exciting because it's not just like college students anymore. We got some like young married couples, like older married couples. It's just a really wide range, but it's a range of people that are readily equipped and at that stage of life where they're discovering their purpose and stuff like that. So I'm just really excited for Hyphen Ministry, and this podcast is just one aspect of that excitement.
Yeah. Also, sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh, yeah.
You're
And
good.
also to add on is like I think I heard that you wanted to go to the Philippines a few years ago before the pandemic.
Yeah,
That you want to
like
kind
a
of
mission trip.
establish
Yeah.
hyphens there. But then now that we have the connection with the Philippines and the Zoom calls and all that stuff,
Yeah.
like it's people are contacting us, right? I told you that there's people from Philippines asking us about like hyphens. They want to establish and have like their conference and topics and all that stuff.
Yeah,
They're asking
yeah.
help from us. So I guess the Lord's mission for you is happening, even though that you didn't go to the Philippines.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Like the Lord
Awesome.
really
Yeah.
rearranged things during the pandemic. So
It's interesting
awesome.
because when Hyphen Ministry first launched, like across the UPCI, it wasn't really that big of a a ministry. Like it wasn't in other countries. Campus ministry was just starting. It was really low key, but just over the years, I don't even remember how many years now. It's been like since 2014 or something like that. Because when we first started Truth Youth again, like that's when kind of Hyphen stepped in. Because before that, we were doing college and careers. You remember those days?
College and careers, yeah.
Sunday
I was
nights.
part of that.
Yeah. Before everyone got married and before everyone had kids, like we had a bunch of we had the college and careers group, which was like our Hyphen group at the time. And that was like late night Starbucks runs at HSC. Like,
Dinner at Tony Roma's when we all had money.
Before responsibilities.
Yeah.
Like staying out till 2 a.m. You know, it's fun, but the ministry as a whole has like really developed, and especially this last year, the CMI conference. They have a conference every year called Awakening, and I was reading like some forum posts for other ministers in the UPCI, and they were saying that aside from Congress, like CMI conference is like one of the most impactful like conferences of the year. And it's not surprising because when you have like thousands of Hyphen young adults, right, who are stepping up to the plate, right, getting involved and answering the call. These are guys that have like, some of them have jobs, some of them are in school, but they're older and they can make their own decisions and stuff like that. It's not like the youth group where you have like 12, 13-year-olds. But these are grown adults who are stepping into a new season, who are making a choice to answer the call of God. That's such a powerful thing for me, to be honest. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
so to see that happening in our youth group, in our Hyphen group is just huge, right?
That's awesome.
For sure.
And, I was like mentioning to Brother Brian, like we're so excited to see like new faces, like our team growing.
For sure.
But, like these people coming out and messaging us. We're not having to message them.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
really, like coming to us and asking questions and all that stuff. So it's kind of great to see that.
Yeah.
We had a first time guest last night, who was it was a coworker of one of our other Hyphens, and the first thing when I introduced myself, the first thing they said is like, "Oh yeah, I know you. I watched the podcast."
Yeah.
I'm like, that's
hey,
crazy.
hey,
oh,
hey,
by the way,
watching.
shout out to Peter.
Peter,
You see this episode, bro?
Welcome.
It's just so cool to see that. And we're only a couple episodes in, but it's just really
Just the
exciting.
impact just of the few episodes has
Yeah.
touched so many people.
Yeah.
They're learning their walk and their ministry and like, coming to us. That's just a great show.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's also that transition too. Like today we have Kui James. We'll introduce him in a second, but Kui James was like you were like your age group was like the youth group for the longest time.
Yeah. It was.
Since day one, I mean, like, and like everyone kind of just got married and had kids, but you guys are also like growing into like a new stage of your life and season, right?
Yes.
So you guys are getting involved in other areas, and the thing about when you have a family is that's your first ministry, right? Like, so you got to focus on your kids growing up, and it's good to see a new generation come up, but of course it's also glad to have the OG.
Whoa, you're
That's why we kind of wanted to.
say old.
Our
Older.
like, vision for this Hyphen was to like incorporate the older Hyphens, right?
Yeah.
Like, to get them involved again.
Yeah. That's what we want to see, and it's like that bridging gap, right? Like,
Right, exactly.
I think that if in order for that to work, you got to have the new generation and the older generation working together to make it happen. So
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I would actually want to play a little game, just because we
we
have
playing games
our,
today, yes sir.
Game,
Our
okay.
music director here. This game was our sister Brianna. She told me about it. It's called Song Association, and I'm gonna say one word, and you guys have 10 seconds.
This is gonna be tricky.
to think of a song that has that word in the title or in the lyric, but you have to sing it.
Oh, we have to sing it.
You have to sing it.
Can we just say the lyric?
I guess if you can't sing.
Yeah.
No, he said sing.
Well, if anyone's gonna sing, we're gonna pass it on to this guy.
Only one person's gonna
Brad
sing.
Ramos.
Has to be in English too.
Well, okay. Does everyone know the rules?
Yes.
That sounds okay.
Okay. So the first word, I'll do an easy one, is love.
See, we say it's easy, but I'm blanking out hard.
Reckless
is-
Love?
When I was introducing him.
I don't know if you know this. This is my weakness. Is lyrics.
Oh, no.
I can play lots of songs, but I don't know what the words are.
Does it have to be the
Jesus
first
chords.
in the
could be
lyrics?
in-
How he loves.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
How he loves.
Oh,
It could be
yeah.
in the
but there's an
title.
S.
Yeah, but the word love is still in there.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Technicalities. Okay.
Reckless
Okay.
love, like
Yeah.
So it can be in the title or it can be in the lyric.
Reckless love. That's a good one too.
Okay.
Lover and red.
Yeah.
So the next one is
Wow.
bow.
Okay, now this one.
I bow. And then I don't know the rest.
That sounds like a
Today.
love song. Oh, vow. Bow or vow?
Bow.
Bow. Okay.
Like B-O-W?
B-O-W.
I thought you were gonna sing the
I
vow.
bow.
The vow.
No heaven locked. We sang it.
Yeah, we
today.
sang
it today.
The services.
Wait,
Yeah.
is it a title or the lyric?
It can be the title
Or the lyric. Okay.
Has the game started already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so.
We're still hashing out the rules.
I
Okay.
think it's all mixed in.
Bow. I can't think of one.
Okay, come on. Let's go, Mark. Let's try another one.
Another word?
Knee shall bow.
Every knee. Oh, yeah, there you go.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I see you.
Oh, always
This guy works for
today.
lyrics all day. So.
I forgot about it.
I just
Hey,
Oh,
you
no.
have an,
That's why I'm
you have an
not
advantage. Okay.
Okay, so the next word is hand.
Hand. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I don't know
That's
about
what
that
I was my question to you earlier about.
Hand.
Oh, breakthrough. I want to lift my hands a little high.
Ooh.
Let's go, bro. That's not true. That's
breakthrough.
freedom.
Wait, is it?
I want
is
to
it?
clap a little.
Yeah.
That's freedom.
Hey, I said the lyrics. I said the lyrics. I said the lyrics.
He's offended because breakthrough is a song.
He said the lyrics.
Sorry, sorry.
You said the
Yeah, I
lyric,
said the
though.
lyrics.
Okay.
I did the lyrics.
Are you gonna give that to O'Neal? All right.
Wow,
Okay.
nice.
We'll do two more.
All right.
We'll do one not so hard and then one hard one.
I'm looking at them and they look hard, bro.
The next one is rise.
Rise.
We rise up.
I was gonna say rise up,
song
rise
is
up.
that?
But
Rise
I don't know
up.
who sings.
Rise up. Out from the
Into the world that you
road.
so love.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Into
yeah.
the world that
What
we
song is
will
that?
rise. I forgot.
We are the free.
We are the free. Yeah.
Oh.
Freedom. Freedom.
He's like a jukebox.
Has no hand in music
Yeah.
ministry.
I was thinking
Freedom.
that praises rise.
Oh, that's good too.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay.
O'Neal though.
Okay, and
On the inside.
Rise.
It's such a like Kirk Franklin R&B song.
Where's Val?
Is Kirk Franklin in the back like shouting and dancing for no reason?
Yeah.
No one noticed that.
Last one?
Yeah.
I think this one is a bit hard, but does anyone know any songs that has the word advance?
Advance.
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 It's too advanced for us.
That's really that's actually a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
I don't know.
I can't think of one.
Yeah.
Do you have
Could we replace a word with advance?
Yeah, I'll replace the word.
Okay.
I'll do an easy one. How about heart?
Heart. Okay, well, that was too easy. Heart of worship.
Why are you pointing out?
I still
Heart of worship.
heart of worship.
yeah.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah. Okay, but the funny thing about that is that you actually introduced that song to the church.
Did I?
Yeah, you did a special song and you sang Heart of Worship.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that was like years ago. I was a kid.
Maybe, did I pass out?
What's that? You did really well.
I
That-
can remember.
The first time we heard you sing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you sang from the piano.
I don't remember.
That was really cool. And after that, we started singing Heart of Worship
Oh.
too often.
You're welcome.
Too often.
See,
Yeah.
that was a good word because
That was.
memories.
But now I'm gonna think about advance.
Well,
Actually,
every time I hear the word advance, I just see the banner. Like we did there was a promotion, like a UPCI promotion.
yeah.
of
I think it
Advance.
was.
Yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
no,
What
it
was
Move the Mission. That was formerly known as SFC.
But it was
Advance.
Advance, right?
yeah, the SFC thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I was
well,
thinking about the store, but anyway.
yeah, I was thinking about the store, too. Like the car shop,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the store. I'm like,
the auto body shop. Nah, that's funny. All right.
electronics.
Yeah, it's electronics.
Oh, you're right. Why are we here, bro?
It's okay. You were born in Hong Kong.
Oh, that's true.
yeah. Got you. Bro,
Just came here when I was 2 years old, but okay.
it's okay.
Oh man, we're having fun. Okay, thank you, bro, for that game. But we're gonna go right ahead. Yeah, thank you. Shout out to our newest member,
Yay,
Sister
Brianna.
Brianna. That was
Thank you.
a great
Turn
game.
the camera around. She was dancing.
Don't worry, yo. Next couple episodes, we're gonna have Brianna and Jonah come join our hosting team. So you'll be seeing them a lot more often. So that's really exciting.
But the next time we play this game, you guys actually have to sing.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, that's what.
Mark
that was-
technically sang a
Yeah,
little
I
bit.
was saying.
It was the wrong song.
Again,
but he
again.
sang.
Sing it. Do it again because Kuya James, I passed out. Sing it again.
It's okay. I don't want to scare people.
You know, there's people like who are actually good at singing but are just too shy. So it's like, oh, I don't sing.
Jonah.
But then you hear them sing and they're like,
Jonah Garcia.
Hidden talent.
Red, huh?
Jonah's running our camera right now. Okay, we got to move on. So we are so blessed to have
Amen.
a guest today
Amen.
who is the kuya of the youth group for a long time, since day one, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. He is our music director in our church. He is a tech and media expert, husband to Hazel, father to Levi and Mishael,
And cousin to.
and cousin to He's got to add in the cousin part at all
I'm going to
time.
add that, yeah. All the other cousins.
For the viewers, how are you guys related? For the viewers.
We're cousins.
We're blood cousins.
Blood
my
cousins.
my mom
Yeah.
and is his dad's sister.
Yeah. There you
Yeah.
go.
Oh.
There's a connection.
They're siblings.
Siblings,
Oh.
yes.
For some reason, I got tripped up on the wording.
The sister. I was
My
like, wait, what?
dad is the brother of your mom.
Yeah.
That's right.
So confusing.
And then you say.
There you go.
They're siblings, yeah.
Okay. Well, we're so glad to have James Saure with us. Welcome.
Welcome, Kuya. Yeah.
Like I've been really excited about this episode because for those of you that know Kuya James, he has a lot of good things to say. a lot of wisdom and a lot of experiences, and we're definitely gonna hopefully get a chance to hear some of that. But I'll pass it to O'Neill if you want to get us started off. Sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, Kuya, for the first question, how are you? Like, what's been going on in your life? Like, talk about like what's going. Okay. Let's see. How are you, Kuya?
I'm fine.
You're good. That's good to hear.
Thank you for asking.
So for the first question, tell us about what's been going on in your life. Like how are
What's my day to day?
Yeah.
What's going on?
yeah,
What's
talk
happening?
about
What's my
you-
day to
What's
day?
happening
Yeah.
in your life?
So here's like maybe the top 3 of my day to days right now. So one is I work, which is great. I have a job.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Something you enjoy.
I work in IT
Oh.
and I deploy computers at people's businesses. So each day I go out and I install machines and I meet people, and it's really fruitful because when you are out and about in the regular world, the business world is a little hidden because when you go to a business, for example, you just see what they want you to see, right? If you go to a
Yeah,
store, you
yeah,
buy something,
true.
that's it.
Yeah.
But I get to
Yeah.
meet the people behind the scenes, and I've been meeting some really, really great people, like some hard workers, people who are very inspirational. To run businesses on their own, even small businesses. So that's like part of my day to day. I'm enjoying it a lot.
That's good.
So that's one.
That's good.
Second is when I get home,
Yeah.
I've got 2 kids that just won't give me a break. Right. So Levi is 5.
Oh.
Mishael is 1.
Nice.
Levi is a thinker, and Mishael's a doer.
Oh.
So sometimes I'm a little bit of both. So sometimes we clash. When I get home, I kind of want like maybe 10 minutes to at least take my boots off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thinker runs up. He's very lovable. Levi. He'll jump into my arms, hug me.
Yeah.
I can't get any of my stuff off. He's like, let's go play. I'm like, I'm still in my jacket. I still have my bag. I still have my boots on. And Mishael is from his crib and he's shaking the thing like,
Yeah.
yeah. So like if that thing was open, he'd run and he'd start throwing shoes and books everywhere. So he's he's kind of wild.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And Hazel's very nice when I come home.
Yeah.
Aw.
She's like, oh, say hi to your dad. Leave him alone for like 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. But yeah, so that's number 2.
Never.
Number 3, I've really been enjoying watching ministry happen in the church.
Oh,
I know I haven't gotten a chance to really sit down with you guys because of how busy things are.
Yeah.
And that's a byproduct of growth. When I notice that, for example, I don't have to have my hand in the sound booth all the time. I don't have to have my hand in the band all the time. I don't have to, micromanage. I'm not really a micromanager, but
sure.
I don't have to keep checking. I can leave things alone and feel confident that the people who are there are doing a great job.
Yeah.
So those are my top 3 day to days right now, and I'm really enjoying it. It's very fruitful for me. So
it's good. Thank you for
I just want to say,
sharing
like,
that.
real quick, like, you've kind of been like the perfect definition of like discipleship, because like if I look across like the ministries, youth, music, IT, like there's you had a hand in like training somebody up in those ministries. Like Clea James taught me drums when I was like 9 years old. Like he's the one that taught me drums. Our piano player, like our IT booth and getting the guys set up there. So that's like really always something that's been like inspirational. Just seeing how you've been able, because you're a teacher, like
Thank you.
in and out, like
That's nice.
in previous employment too, like you've always been the one to teach and be able to, you had that skill with you.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's just really cool to see, and like it's nice that you now have an opportunity to like kind of step back and like, does that feel like you feel comfortable?
Yeah,
like, doing that?
the weight of responsibility versus the amount of responsibility has changed, because before I was married and had kids and I was in like the Hyphen or college and careers youth people age group, I had a lot of free time. And when I say free time, I mean I had a lot of choice with what I wanted to do with my time. I wasn't tied down to heavy responsibilities. So I took on a lot of responsibilities, right? So, a pastor said, "Oh, we need someone to figure out how like this computer works, because we need to do projection, because back then we had the projector." Right, with the clear, I don't know how how old that is, but like with a clear sheet, and you had Jason writing the lyrics before the service because the words were wrong, stuff like that. So we needed to transition from that, and so because I was one of the only young people at the time in our church, a lot of the others, like you guys, were just way too small, obviously, to do that stuff, and the capabilities of the people working in the church were not suited for technology yet. I decided to just do that personally. Like, I'll learn. I'll research. I'll build a computer. I'll figure it out, and then hopefully we can get something working. And then that ended up being kind of like the broadening of my responsibilities. So pastor says, "Can you handle this?" "Yes, sure." "Can you handle this?" "Yes, sure." "Can you handle this?" "Yes, sure." And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, there's like a lot of stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
And then people start coming to the church. Someone told me, and I forget who, but they were telling me that you work hard for the church. You do what you can in the kingdom, and God will bring people in to make things happen. So, for example, there were times where I would feel like, I have so much stuff going on that I don't know if I'll be able to settle down and have a family, for example. And that was something that's like a life goal of mine when I was younger. I was like, I want to have kids, that stuff, And I was like, I don't see that really happening because I'm so busy. But slowly, God starts bringing people to the church who can do those things. And pastor says, "You know what? Just let them do it and just help them. Help them grow in that field." So as that starts to happen, I can start pulling back and kind of relaxing and focusing on myself a little bit. And now that I have a family and then I'm seeing ministry happen still, it really does. It's almost like God proved his point from a long time ago when he said that regardless if you serve or not, this will happen. Right? Now, it's not to say as in a discouraging way, but an encouraging way that, let's say you feel like you're in charge of the ministry and you feel like if you're not there, things won't happen. That's not true. If you're not there, God can still move.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So that's why I'm like, this is awesome. I'm seeing this happen. I'm seeing, young people, like younger people that are like, like Jared's running he's like managing our Discord server. I'm like, I just learned about Discord like last year. I knew about it, but I just learned about it last year, like how it works and the inner workings of managing a server. And I'm like, that's so cool.
For sure. That's awesome. For sure. It's like at that point that you just mentioned about the feeling of, it's almost like a level of anxiety, like when you're in that position or in charge of something that that it might not run or whatever. I think that at a certain point you have to have that release, and I think that it comes with the Holy Spirit, like just letting you know and reminding you that it's not me, it's not you. Sorry, it's me, right? It's my presence, it's my spirit, and power that moves, and I 100% like relate with that feeling. And I know that you've been there so many times in different areas too, especially as we were growing as a church, because before we were so small, right? And we were just like we were just in a small. We were back at Emmanuel, right? And then we had then we finally got this building, but even then we were still slowly growing. And then now we have so many people that are involved. And I agree with you. Like that's one of the most beautiful things to see is to see more people involved.
Yes,
And,
yeah.
and people are being added every day, right?
Yes, right.
Amen.
You know, shout out to some people
That
that are being added to the ministry. And we're just really excited about
Shout
that.
out to previous guests.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always amazing how God continues to use these new people into the ministries, right,
Yeah.
in the kingdom
Yes.
to further it, right, and it's just awesome to hear. But I just wanted to ask you, Kuya,
Yep.
for another question, or maybe just to share a little bit of your story and how you ended up here in Apostolic
Yeah.
Faith. And, yeah.
Actually, it's both a little interesting. I mean, it's interesting to me at least.
Of course.
If you guys don't find it interesting, that's okay. But I tie it back to a decision that my mom asked me when I was a kid. And it doesn't really sound like it's related to church, but it is because when I was a kid, I was like 4 turning 5. Not that I remember everything, but this is like a vivid memory of my mom where she asked me, hey, do you want to take swimming lessons or piano lessons? Because we can't afford both.
Yeah.
But I want you to do something. Like, do you want to take swimming lessons or piano lessons? And in my immature mind, the first thought is, I don't want anyone to see my body,
Yeah.
so I don't want to go swimming,
Fair enough. Yeah.
and I don't want to drown, right? So I'll take the piano.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, I'll do piano lessons. And then as I grew, piano became part of my life.
Yeah.
Music became part of my life. I had a really great piano teacher growing up, and she coached me like I did like Royal Conservatory, like classical music, and like things changed. But that's like playing in the background of like my spiritual journey, because I always went to church growing up.
Yeah.
Like my mom and my dad were at least inclined. They were aware that God existed. They were aware that they had a responsibility to do some form of worship or attendance, whether it's just being there and not actually following the Bible. That's not the case. They at least had that instilled in me that on Sundays we go to church.
Yeah. For sure.
So growing up, we actually went to, I'm already going to forget now that I'm thinking about it, the church on Bethel. Yeah, we went to Bethel Tabernacle growing up. So I have vivid memories of the bus driver, Zeke, picking me up on Sunday mornings to go to Sunday school. And we would go, my parents would meet me there. They were like, oh, you sleep over at your cousin's, Zeke will pick you up. We go to church. So this is happening, go to church, go to church, go to church. Another side of our family, they have a different faith, and they open a church. So my parents are like, well, let's go visit there for a little while. And so I'm like moving between churches. I don't understand doctrine exactly yet. I just know that God exists and that I can ask for forgiveness. I can pray, those kind of things. So this is happening like for years and years and years. Going to this church for a little while, going to that church for a little while. And then your dad comes here and he starts to work.
Yeah.
And my parents were invited, I think by Sister Normally, or by,
Of course.
yeah. Thank you, Sister Normally.
Since
yeah.
97, you know? Day one.
Yeah, since the flood of 97, yeah. Sister Normally has been inviting people. So, so she invites us and we start going. And this is when they were renting, when Truth Tabernacle was renting Bethel's building for a short while. So I was like, oh, we were already going back to Bethel for a little while. And then Pastor came and opened a church. They're borrowing Bethel's building. So let's go. Why not? They have a little bit of like Filipino service stuff going on, right? Reaching Filipinos. And so we go. And just to keep this short, because there's a lot of details, but essentially we keep going until we get to Emmanuel. We're renting Emmanuel's building now. And we've been going faithfully and we've been loving it. The fellowship, people are so warm. And we really felt like what's being preached is the truth. Well, I didn't know the doctrine stuff, right? So as I'm learning it in Sunday school, like, oh, we believe in one God. His name is Jesus. And I'm thinking, oh, we don't pray to Mary or anything like that, because a lot of my friends grew up Catholic. I'm the only one who didn't know that I was not Catholic. I thought I was Catholic the whole time. So I thought I was Catholic. So I thought I was Catholic growing up the entire time, because during one of the Sunday school lessons, the topic of baptism came up. And growing up, my parents never talked about my baptism. I've always been surrounded by, Christianings. I've always been surrounded by people who say like, oh, you get baptized when you're like 12. Well, I was like 11 turning 12. I'm like, oh, am I going to get baptized? I don't know. And then we start learning about it in Sunday school, like the meaning behind baptism and why it's essential to salvation. And so we're learning about that, and it got me curious. I'm like, you know what? I believe this. I want to do this. And so we go through the lesson, we repent. I'm baptized in Emmanuel's baptismal tank, which has some really funny memories as well too with it.
I remember what happened on that.
Yeah, so I'll leave a cliffhanger for the listeners. But essentially what happened was it got me looking back into my past, figuring out like, was I already baptized? Because Pastor asked me like, were you baptized before? Well, I don't know, Pastor. Mom and Dad never talked about that. I thought I was just, like a Christianing, like a Roman Catholic baptism where they pour water on your head or whatever. I thought that's what I had done. And my mom actually said, well, look in the box. You'll find your baptismal certificate. Or not baptismal certificate. You'll find your dedication certificate. So Pastor Keifling had dedicated me. So this is back in the very first church, Bethel.
Yeah.
Pastor Keifling had dedicated me as a baby. So we were already practicing apostolic faith back then. But I guess, I just didn't really know.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that, I thought that was almost like a confirmation for me that what I'm doing is correct.
Yeah.
Like a word from God saying, look, you've been in this the whole time.
Yeah.
And then maybe you were just in a journey with your family.
Yeah.
But now that you can decide, you have a mind of your own, you can decide for yourself now, are you following what you believe is true? I believe with all my heart it's true.
Yeah.
And so I'm just seeing the certificate with my name dedicated by, I forget Pastor Keifling's first name. Pastor. By Pastor Keifling. That was kind of like the transition of me getting into church. Now, alongside of that all happening, I did go through a period of time where my faith had to be kind of challenged.
Yeah.
So my dad was involved in like, I guess you could say it's like we call it an accident, but someone tried to take his life. Okay, they tried to take his life, and when he came back home looking for help, I was one of the first people to see him in a distraught manner, and that really impacted me in a lot of ways. So going through that, he had his healing process as well. And then a few years after, my mom got cancer, and then she passed when I was about 15. And so like those trying times had really pushed me to challenge my faith, and I actually harbored a lot of anger. So I harbored a lot of anger going into ministry, even though I just started playing piano at 14 for the church. But I had a lot of stuff to deal with.
Yeah.
And I got into a point, and I hope there's other hyphens that will hear this, that at some point in time, I was just doing the thing. Yeah. I was just playing songs for service. I was just playing songs for altar call. I was just praying when asked to pray. But my heart wasn't in it because it was dealing with all this, like, why? Like, I felt with all this why happening. And eventually, over time, thank God for time.
Yeah.
Over time, I learned to deal with it, and people spoke into my life in a special way. And so I don't harbor that anger anymore. If anything, I give glory to God because He had at my pace, which is so wonderful. Yeah. I didn't feel rushed to have to like deal with it. I didn't speak to someone and said, you got to do this, and you're going to be good. It literally took years of dealing with it and seeing how life happens and how God works in people's lives, that I was able to kind of deal with this anger and not blame God anymore. Because the turning point for me would have been one of our district rallies, where it was impressed to me that the anger that you're holding on to, I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but it belongs to Him. All that stuff that I've been dealing with, I've been taking it on myself and saying, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out. And then God's like, why are you trying to figure me out? just give me the anger. Like, there's no way you can deal with this for the rest of your life. So give the anger to God. Like, so I started saying, God, take this anger and not just help me deal with it, but cleanse me from anger. Because it was really destructive. And I was starting to do things that now when I look back, I'm like, ooh, it looks like everything's good, but behind the scene it's not. And that's not the way we want to live. So that I'm here now. Everything's fine. Okay. But I mean, there was a point in time where there were some challenges that I felt were more than I could bear. But it's just because I wasn't asking God for help.
That's good. I love that point of processing like the things you go through, because I think it's as believers, of course we have faith that God can heal. We have faith that God He has the power, absolutely. But sometimes it just doesn't happen right away, right? Sometimes the healing doesn't even come, right? And like when I think about your mom being one of them, many of the others that have passed away from cancer or disease at our church, right? And I think that every time that has happened, it's kind of thrown that kind of question to the saints and those that were, close with those people that we've lost. Why did this happen? Or why didn't God, they're doing so much for the kingdom of God, right? They're doing so much for doing, teaching Bible studies, all the stuff. Why would God allow this to happen? But it's, we look on the other side and we take it as a challenge of our faith, right? And we know that they're going to receive their heavenly reward. They're at that place already. But for us that are left down here, it's definitely going to be a test. And that process of healing, whether it be with anger, depression, anxiety, whatever it is you're dealing with emotionally, sometimes it takes time. And I think that more, especially young adults, I think, or those transitioning from into that stage of life. I mean, you were 15, right?
Yeah.
It's a process that is difficult.
Yeah, and I really didn't feel like I had anyone I could ask for help. Just because, actually, I don't even think I told my school.
Wow.
When I think about it, like now I'm thinking about it, like I never told my high school teacher that my mom died. That's why she thought I was just skipping class. And like when I came back, she's like, where have you been? It's been like, I think 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like I was away from school for like, or in and out of school, or not at her class. But
you were around.
I was here and there, but like she actually had to like find me. She was like, hey, where have you been? Like, what happened? I was like, oh, my mom died. So, and she was like, why didn't you tell me? And I thought, oh yeah, I didn't realize. I thought I was alone in this, because like I was supporting my family as best as I could. We're still working now. We're short one parent, and then my dad's trying to carry the load, and it's hard for him to like now take care of 2 kids, like me and my sister, and like stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So I thought it was really a blessing that the church was there the whole time, because they provided solace for us. They were there in a time where I felt like I was alone. I felt like I didn't really have anyone to ask. There were people praying the whole time. That's good. And I didn't know until later that, so sister so-and-so, brother and so-so was praying for our family during that time. So I thought that's really wonderful.
That's amazing. Yeah. It's like when I think back to, I was obviously really young, but just hearing your testimony in previous times, like those major events happened really close together, no?
They were close together, yeah. They were like in the span of, I think, about 4 years.
Yeah, that's really close.
Early 4 years, 3 to 4 years. Yeah. Just because it's not like my mom just got cancer and then passed so quickly, but she was diagnosed with cancer, and we had been dealing with for, it feels like maybe 2 years, and I don't know the exact timeline, but she wrote me letters actually in a journal and left that with us. And one of the things she said is she's like, do the Lord's work, something along those lines. I probably have to dig it up and then probably get some alone time and some box of tissues. Cause you know what I mean? Like, cause she would write me letters and she would always have a little nugget in there, like do the Lord's work, stay in church. She was always a big thing of like, education, get an education, but do the Lord's work and stuff. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Wild.
for me,
I
like
know.
like growing up, your mom was my ninang, but I never really had that relationship that I
Yeah.
kind of wanted, and every time she would come to me, she would always like tell me, she would like pray for me actually.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you don't
It's
remember like vivid stuff,
Yeah.
but like there are times when you just remember, and I just know that your mom was praying for me.
Yeah.
Just the
it's
seed
just-
that's planted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just amazing.
Of all the memories, right?
Yeah,
Like,
you
of all the memories to have.
right. It's like crazy. Like
Yeah.
literally, that's like I don't really know Ninang Tina that much, but like
Yeah.
that memory just engraved in my head.
Yeah.
It's just like
Just
Thank
the
God,
the
like-
last
Yeah,
impact that it
yeah, I
had.
know.
she's
Yeah.
and I feel she's looking after all of us still. Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it.
You want that
It's-
cliffhanger?
I mean, yeah, drop it on us.
So I'm laughing already because it was
Just
a
light
pretty,
it up a
a
little.
pretty wild Sunday. So when I decided to get baptized, I don't know if like the whole world became against me, but someone tried to stop me. I don't know what it is. The enemy trying to stop this from happening, because like at every junction of getting ready for church that Sunday, something went wrong.
In
Like
one day.
in one day, in one morning,
One morning.
even after there were still things going on.
Like Murphy's Law.
Like Murph, yeah. So like what happened is like, I'm getting ready. My pants. Well, I'm like what 12,
yeah.
and like getting ready, and my clothes don't work. So I have to find clothes that work. Like the zipper broke on one. Like I don't have like a shirt with enough buttons or whatever. And then getting to church, it was like I'm not good with dates, but it was winter. So like I'm trying to get ready. We get to church. I'm trying to go into the church and I slip so hard and land on my side, and like my leg is sore and like it's all dirty now, like all my clothes, because I'm so excited I'm gonna get baptized.
Yeah.
And then during Sunday school, I don't know, it was just wild. I get baptized, and then after I get baptized, what you might not know about Emmanuel's baptismal tank is that it was not in the floor; it was elevated.
Yeah.
So you had to walk up a ladder to get into the tank. So I walk up the ladder to get into the tank, and it's fine. But I'm like, I don't trust this ladder because this ladder's not bolted down to anything, and I'm not light. I'm a very heavy kid. Okay, so I go in there, we get baptized, and it's so wonderful. And then I walk down that ladder, and because it's not bolted, it slides down. And I fall straight down off of the baptismal tank, and I like cut up my heel.
Yeah.
And then, so even after that, and I got there's some ricochet because like my cousin was the one holding the ladder or the steps, and the steps slid and hit him in the shins. So it's so bad. It was just a very memorable day.
I just remember the gash because like there was like a fellowship afterwards at someone's house. I was like a little kid. So
Yeah, there was. Yeah,
I just walk upstairs and directly like in front of me is Kuya James like trying to clean up his
yeah, it's like bleeding. It was like
it was
really,
bad.
it was bad.
It was not like a little cut.
No.
It was like really bad. I'm like,
Yeah, this is very eventful. Yeah.
well, the journey, Kuya James, from like your testimony, of course, and the stuff that you went through, and also the like just to add the impact that you've had on many of our young people that are in ministry right now, and now you're married, and you got kids, and you're in a career that you love. Like the stars are just kind of aligning, and you guys are just doing great things. Just to close out the episode, like, is there any advice that you could, or maybe a piece of encouragement that you can give to Hyphens who maybe are going through similar things that you did when you were younger? Or?
Take notes.
There's a lot. So let me just choose something that is more relevant and recent.
Yeah.
And that is just know who you can talk to.
Yeah.
And if that person happens to only be pastor, don't think that pastor won't want to hear from you. There's like an inner battle that happens with all people, whether they're in ministry or not. And the pastor will say, if you need help, just contact me. Send me, I'm just a text away, or like a message or a call away. But for whatever reason, and I know I'm not alone in this, sometimes I feel like I don't want to bug him. I don't want to bug him with this problem. This problem is not big enough to ask, my pastor for help. But that's the exact opposite. It's completely not true. If anything, He would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my advice would be is if you have a pastor that you can contact and talk to them. If you have what you think is a small problem, they'll let you know if it's a small problem or not. Loop somebody in, create some accountability, have somebody that you can bounce what you're feeling inside off of, because they could provide insight that maybe you never thought of. Now, if you're part of a church that has more leaders, like maybe there's like a board or there's like a leadership team, involve them. Just have someone to talk to, because at the end of the day, it's really hard to do this alone. And I don't think we're meant to be alone in all of this, right? We're meant to have fellowship. We're meant to be together when we're dealing with spiritual battles. So I would definitely say include pastor, include somebody in a leadership ministry or somebody that you trust that is in the faith, please.
Yes.
Yeah,
of course.
yeah. And just make sure they're within arm's reach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Good.
Wow. That's amazing.
Was that good? You like that one?
Give us another one. There's still time.
We're clocking 50, I think. No, that's great. That's great.
45.
Thank you so much, Kui James, for coming on. And there's so much we could talk about, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like how fast you can do Rubik's Cube. Like we just talk about. There's so many things that I'd love to touch on, but maybe we'll try and do this again for sure.
Sure,
We just
yeah.
really appreciate having you on the.
Thank you for
podcast.
having me.
Yeah, for sure. But Tito B, if you want to close us out.
Yeah, for sure. Just adding on very quickly is just coming here for the past almost 2 years now and seeing like what you just shared. Like it just came to me. It's like you're the skeleton kind of everyone's helping to build the church, right? To have the church here, but like Kui James is one of the major
Definitely big hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For to have this church, and it benefits all of us, and especially like us who are new. Like praise God for you, Kui James.
Thank you.
I'm just kidding. I'm not ashamed of this. I'm just kidding. No, but thank you. I thank the Lord for you, for everyone here, right? Yeah, we're all here as one body, and as Kui James said, like reach out, right? I know there's so much people that are. I was one of them also who didn't have anyone to properly go to someone, and it's good for godly advice. And so thank you so much, Kui James. Thank you so much, team, for this. And for those of you who are watching, comment down below what you guys think, if you felt anything or whatever. We're all here for one another, and continue to like, subscribe, share this podcast and with everyone, right? It's not just sharing our testimonies or words of advice or drink of the day, but it's spreading Jesus, amen, for the glorification of God, amen. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for another episode next Monday. Peace.
Bless y'all. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Ba-da-ba-ba.